something we have to do, and it's like important that we realize the responsibility we have as artists in this kind of situations, right? Like I actively don't watch news and stuff like that because it seems like most of the times it feels more confusing. But I have a friend in Dubai, right? Like it's already personal, even though I don't watch news. So and we also have several things in Substack that that are relevant in this sort of conversation. We have Josh Dadko publishing his book, right? Like that's like a pretty important event, right? Like he's been doing the Bloody Sonnets for a while, and if people have been following Josh Datko, like that has been like a major project. So I'm happy to that was one of the things I wanted to do regardless to do a little bit of promotion for Josh Datko, which he definitely deserves, even though regardless of book publishing or not, like Josh Datko's um such a treat to have in our community. Uh, he had like a little exchange with Stefan Bashu. He called him a hero, and there was like a little exchange about how it can be a loaded term, and I definitely understand how uncomfortable it can be. How saying something like thank you for your service can be like one of the most hurtful things you can hear as a veteran. And but I want to say that not for the time he served in the military, but like for the time he's been serving as a poet for this community. And I want to call him like a poetical hero, right? For the things he's been doing, for the small things as publishing his poetry in LinkedIn, where he has actual military connections. I feel comfortable calling Josh Datko a hero for what he's been doing in terms of poetry right now. And I'm gonna read a little. I just recently bought the digital version. Like I live in Mexico. Like sending 40 American dollars to Josh Datko doesn't seem like something I can do right now. But I just got his book. I actually even made like a reading of one of his sonnets. Um, I think it was sonnet number 3. But like I'm gonna choose number 1 right now. So this is his translation from the Bloody Sonnets. Who will sing songs about blood? Singing needs blood in the veins, as does a face full of shame. Sing with a daughter's rosy cheeks, who dreams of her angel's love. Even the oracle needs blood to weave the spirit in the flames at the altar. So let's sing with full sips what life blood gives. Our aged wine flows from our heart's cup, spilling into muscles like roaring waves, flushing through arteries, spinning a wheel of creative will, of speech and life. Do butchers ever think of this? Bloody Sonnet number 2. But now is not the time to sing of fruitful blood, which flows and leaps from heart to hand, blood that amplifies alchemy to transmute stone to gold, nor about the blood that exposes the sun to shadow, lit like a signal flame, spreading tower to tower with the awe of dawn's daylight that fills us like fresh bread, or then shields us where there is danger. No, this is about the blood that thundered in anger, raging from above the timberline and poured into the peaceful plains like a red bullet through a canyon. About this is the blood we shall sing until we choke. Okay, so those are the bloody sonnets, and there's another poet I want to read tonight. Is Ben Corman. Part of the um, it's kind of difficult to read Ben Corman's poems because of how um raw it is, and you kind of feel unworthy in a sense to kind of like comment on them because of just the uncompromising voice that is um, presented in them, and this one's called fetal position. My eyes went sweat blind, and then I lost sight of them. This being the first and most sacred of rear security sins, that of paying too much attention to what's behind you. In my case, the sun, setting low and under sweeping clouds that were raping the savannas dry to the south of my position. 104 degrees, and I am already shivering like a naked newborn. Then leaves rustle, and a boy soon follows. 7. I look down at my hands, trying to remember the right numbers, the sand spilling through my fingers. Then the voice, 7. Each time I try to answer, right at the point the dream turns, the scream somehow burning underwater again, more scared than angry. 7, you dumb fuck! A surgeon's safety clacks its teeth, and death smiles. He cannot see me, and in the dream I swallow this sum of all fears, which tastes like miles of magnesium and smells like sulfur. In the dream, I bow and place my mouth at the end of the barrel, pacified by tracers bleeding hot air. I vomit baby teeth and children's hair. In the dream, I run out of time, failing to find the right answer. Well, that's, as you can see, that's why it's kind of hard to almost comment or say much about Ben Corman's poetry. It's um, it's something that almost deserves just silence afterwards, right? S- there's really not much to say, and I'll leave it like that. Um, but I'll commend Ben Corman's effort in doing this. The next poem I want to read is by Luciana. She's doing like a Radu Gear translation a cycle this weekend. And what I really like about Luciana is the almost profile she gives on these many poets, which is like kind of similar to what I wanted to do, like in my interviews, and like show um, the life of different poets that are deciding to put their life force into something that seems kind of illogical, right? In this days. And Radu here is really interesting because, well, there's like a more complex background that Luciana gives, but basically he was very involved politically in Romania, and then like he was more on the right side. And when the communists take over, he's sent to jail, and there he um, writes poetry any way he can, right? Like he writes poetry on soap. He writes, he transmits poetry by Morse code to other of the prisoners, and it's something that keeps them alive. And I talked a little bit about the more what we could call pragmatical, right? Like approach to poetry, right? Like that, it's not like this idea of art for art's sake that is so meaningless in today's conception of poetry. I think the post by Luciana and Radu Gear's life showcases how vital towards survival, more than even like food, maybe in those situations, like poetry can be. um so um so I'm gonna read Luciana's translation of Arise George, Arise John. Not for a measure of crusty bread, not for the sheds, not for acres you own, but for the free air of the coming dawn. Arise, George. Arise, John. For the blood of your kin spilled in the ditches, for your song pinned down in iron spikes, for the tear of your chained son. Arise, George. Arise, John. Or not for the wrath ground out through your teeth, but together, whistling on slanted hills, a bunch of horizons, and a hatful of stars to dawn. Arise, George, arise, John. So you may drink freedom from buckets and plunge into it like a sky in the whirlpools and shake its apricots down upon. Arise, George, arise, John, and to place the burning kiss on the thresholds of on porches, on doors, and on icons, on everything that freely arises in your path. Arise, George. Arise, John. Arise, George, upon chains and on ropes. Arise, John, upon the holy bones, and upwards towards the light after the storm. Arise, George. Arise, John. So that was Luciana's post on Radegier's poetry. Um, and you cannot find better examples of like the vital importance of poetry in everyday life. Um, I commented a little bit on the poetry readings we've been doing, and it's been interesting, like the transition now that I've done like three different events. And on this third one, like the excitement of, I guess, like an Friday night event started to wane a little bit, and it started to feel more like a responsibility that we have forgotten, right? Like of coming together and sharing in a profoundly human way, what we are experiencing. It almost felt like the responsibility of going to church, something that like a responsibility that we had been shirking and forgetting and and it just and it went from just the feeling of I would say uh, well the positive aspect of like of just like how um electrifying it can be to how much we need to sustain this communal heart by these rituals, right? Like it as much of as we love to talk about going to the gym and all this sort of like bro stuff today, it felt like a similar sort of responsibility that we had to do. It's not it's not necessarily in terms um of something that is cool and exciting and delightful, but it's something that we need to, as a society, uphold in order to be healthy, not as individuals, but as a society, right? There's a sense uh, of like a communal heart or seed that we have to tend to maintain a healthy society. So um th- radio gears seems like a very extreme and very magnificent example of this, right? Like of how we need to do this effort to maintain communal health and in his case it was like pretty extreme. It was like a matter of life or death for like maybe more than food for some of them. So this are the poems that I most wanted to read right now. Like I still have a lot of plans for what I want to publish next week. We got Adrian on the chat. He was there. He also has a great example. He published recently um, a poem he read in Spanish in our meetings. Like Adrian also lives in Mexico, so um, I'll you know I'll read his poem to it, and it's great because of both the explicit aspect of community. Like this poem is meant as a sort of speech in a way, right? Like for people living in the in Adrian's community and to fight against some of the injustice that has been going on in the management. So I was really happy to see it also like pop up in Spanish, right? But this is the English version by Adrian of Vecinos. We are victims of an injustice. Through coercion, opacity, shouting, threats, and wars, fear is used as a tool against us. I ask, why do we accept it? Why do we accept this harsh and unjust authority, this machine that feeds on lies and half truths? Why do we tolerate darkness? Why such passive obedience? What is our prize? We call it peace, but we do not understand peace. We think it can be bought, that it can be negotiated, that it arrives thanks to a contract. No, that peace for sale does not exist. Do do you not believe me? Look around you. Neighbors against neighbors fighting over what we ourselves gave away in exchange for peace, our freedom, the most basic of our human rights. We buy peace, but it does not exist in our houses, in our streets, in our cities, or in our countries. We live waiting for it to arrive, to be delivered to us like a package in the post. It never comes. Deals and favors, concessions, bowing our heads, going with the flow, because it is easier than swimming. We do not understand that we live at a crossroads in the hour of truth. If we do not swim against the current, it drags us to a single destination, the mouth of the abyss, the teeth of conformity. And at the end of it all, that package arrives like a branch on the road. We grab it like children at Christmas and try to enjoy it, but there is nothing there, only an emptiness and a single bill to pay. Our shattered dignity. We must swim for our children who will inherit our decisions. Because peace is something sacred that must be protected. It is our right and our responsibility. It cannot be delegated. It is the sacred enemy of corruption, which never rests. We must swim because the ending is not happy. It never was and never will be, and our only comfort in the moment of falling is to know that we did what was right, or at the very least, that we tried. Okay, that was Adrian's poem. I'm really proud of Adrian doing this. I think he'll find the absolute power that poetry can have to inspire people, and I wish the best for him in this project that he has of using poetry as a tool for change in his community. Right, like this is not poetry for art's sake. That's dumb. It is meaningless. It doesn't mean it doesn't mean anything. This has a very clear goal in mind, and it is to change people. It is to inspire people. It is to bring fire in the convictions of people and to wake them up. And we are indeed at a crossroads. We are at a crossroads. I'm not sure if you guys have felt it this week, but things are changing. Things are changing. And this is the dawn of a new age. And reason is dead. I declare reason dead, and this is the dawn of the birth of spirit again. And we will triumph. Even though this seems like a time of uncertainty, I bring you absolute positivity. I bring you the new light. I bring you the optimism. This is the time for us to show our mettle, what we are made of. This is a fight that is worth fighting for. So I appreciate you guys. I hope you're excited. Challenges are not to be melancholic. This is a time for us to raise our passion. This is the opportunity to bring beauty into life. It doesn't seem like the time for poets in theater and stuff like that. That's the opposite. This is precisely the time for poetry and theater and art and showing beauty and showing what humans are made of and how they can react in times of adversity, right? Like this is like if we are to take or give an answer to why sadness, suffering exists in the world, it is for the opportunity to make beauty out of it. This is what glory and transcendence is made of. So I love you guys. Things are gonna start ramping up, and we are ready. We've been preparing for this by our commitment and our sincerity in our craft, and the new age and its responsibility is upon us, and we shall stand up to it. So thank you guys for being here tonight. I hope all of this can serve something that fires our will into the challenges that are coming, and not face them with like the doom mentality that plagues the internet, right? Like the sad mentality, like even like the right wing hyper masculine guys are all about doom and these pathetic anxiety about the future. We shall face it with delight, with love, and with a masculine peace that delights in the challenges that makes us grow. So thanks guys for sharing this calling for the future that is ahead of us. We shall bring back optimism for the future. It's not going to be sci-fi. It is not going to be sci-fi. There is no sci-fi because nobody who is slightly intelligent has any hope for technology bringing anything worthwhile in the future. The future is mythical, it's spiritual again. This is the birth of the spirit. Reason is death, and from it rises a spirit. I love you guys, and I'll be seeing you again very soon.